Testing. Hello. Hi. Hello, everyone. Okay, I know October is going to be eventful, but I didn't know it's going to be this eventful. Um, we're 11 days. Can you guys hear me? Yes? I just want to make sure that my audio is okay. Yes? Can someone send me a response? Testing. Okay, we're live. Yes. Okay, good. Excellent. So we're 11 days away from the CCP's fourth plenum, and today's breaking news is explosive. Xi Jinping has reportedly suffered a stroke and is now hospitalized. When I first heard it this morning, I didn't pay much attention. There have been so many rumors flying around lately, but then a second source reported the same thing. By the afternoon, almost every major Chinese language media outlet in the US was covering it. And by evening, a third source, a very credible one, confirmed that she is indeed having a health crisis and is in the hospital. All three are people I personally respect. So I decided to scrap my original plan and talk about this instead because it has, if true, it has a significant impact. Two versions said that it happened today, and one said at about 6 p.m. Beijing time, which was our morning, and Xi Jinping suffered a hemorrhagic stroke and was taken to the hospital. And the stroke is said to be more serious than the previous two he suffered. The first one was last July during the third plenum, when he reportedly collapsed at the venue. And that was the turning point in CCP's internal power struggle, the moment Zhang Youxia seized power and brought in the party elders to stabilize the situation. And the second time was reportedly during the Lunar New Year period, when he suffered a minor stroke. It wasn't serious. And it's said that Xi Jinping pays a hefty sum to have a German doctor take care of him in Beijing. And that same German doctor is now the one treating him in the hospital. Sources also say Beijing has called Premier Li Qiang, who is currently in Pyongyang for the October 10th military parade, ordering him to return to Beijing immediately. People have gone on Flight Trader 24. No, not Flight Trader, Flight Radar 24 to check the data. His plane, which is B-2482, is a Boeing 747. It has not yet taken off from Pyongyang. So if Li does return to Beijing immediately, it confirms that something has happened to Xi Jinping. Then there's a third version from a source connected to a vice state level official. And this is very high because the highest level is the state level. Xi Jinping is at the state level, and then the six other Politburo Standing Committee members are also at the state level. And then below them, the Politburo members are the vice state level. So this came from a very high level source. And this one claims that Xi Jinping actually had the stroke 2 to 3 days ago and has been hospitalized since. And according to this version, the party elders have already agreed that Wang Yang will lead the transition immediately. They have already kicked off the transition work. So what they have done is that they have taken control. They have taken full control of the Central Committee. There are 205 members in the Central Committee. Out of those, 48 have been detained, or they have been they're taken. They're in custody. They're not. These 48 people are not free. So that's nearly a quarter, right? Quarter of the 205. The remaining 155 members were called in for individual talks, where each one was asked to pick a side. If you add the 155 to the 48, you get 203. So people wonder, well, what happened to the two? Well, probably the two are people like Hu Chunhua, who is one of the 205, who the party elders don't even need to talk to. So that's what's being done. And this source also confirmed that Xi Jinping lost control of the military after the stroke at the third plenum last summer. And he has since made several failed attempts to take it back. Now, at this fourth plenum, he's expected to step down as party secretary and chairman of the CMC, while keeping only the state presidency until the next year's two sessions in March. This actually aligns with what we predicted earlier this week. You can check my Tuesday's program for that. So the question now is Xi Jinping really sick? Can this information be trusted? I just told you the three sources, and they're three independent sources. These people do not know each other, but they pretty much said the same thing. The only difference is the timing. Two sources said that it happened today. One said it happened actually couple of days ago. Now let me first give you, so there are several possibilities. The first possibility is there are people who don't believe it. They say timing is just too perfect. 11 days before the plenum, exactly when she would be most vulnerable. How convenient, they argue, that she suddenly has a stroke right before the big meeting, forcing him out of power. They think this could be fake news planted by the anti-Xi camp to shape the narrative in advance. Their main piece of evidence, is today's announcement from China's foreign ministry, which said that Xi Jinping will attend the Global Women's Summit in Beijing from October 13th to the 14th. Well, actually, he's not going to attend both days, but the summit will be held on October 13th and 14th. But Xi Jinping will deliver a keynote speech at the opening ceremony. So if she really had a stroke, there's no way he'd be given a speech just 4 days later. However, I think Xi's camp wants to hide the news that he's hospitalized and therefore needs to create a public event or a public appearance for him to dispel rumors. But they're going to resort to a body double. Now, Xi Jinping is widely rumored to have several body doubles. I mean, I shouldn't say rumored, but there are people confirming that. So it's entirely possible that the reason we hear this news today from the foreign ministry is precisely to dispel rumor that Xi Jinping, to cover up the fact that Xi Jinping is sick. So they are going to use a body double to deliver a speech at the opening ceremony of this women's summit. Remember what happened last year during the third plenum? While similar rumors of Xi's stroke were spreading like wildfire, he suddenly showed up at the Vietnamese embassy to offer condolences for the death of a former Vietnamese leader. At the time, I analyzed his handwriting and concluded that it was very likely a double because it does, the handwriting it's very similar, but it's not the same person. Anyways, the Women's Summit is only 4 days away, so we don't have to wait long to see whether the person who shows up is real Xi Jinping or not. Other than purely a fabricated rumor from the anti-Xi camp, there are a few other possible explanations for what's happening. Second possibility, Xi didn't have a stroke. His power struggle with Zhang Youxia may have spiraled out of control. He could have lost his freedom and is now being held at a military hospital. Anti-Xi faction, mainly Zhang Youxia's camp, and the military could be spreading the stroke rumor as a cover story to explain his disappearance. And the third possibility is that Xi Jinping could be faking his illness. A China analyst immediately said that. He said that Xi Jinping might have retreated to the hospital as a way to boycott his duties and use his health as a bargaining chip in the upcoming plenum power negotiations, because he knows that his opponent wants to have certain legitimacy in this power transition. So he's taking advantage of their desire to have a peaceful power transition. So he's boycotting this his responsibility as a bargaining chip. The fourth possibility, that's a darker thought. Given the timing, just days before the plenum, this could be a forced stroke. If a fierce disagreement erupted inside Zhongnanhai over whether she should step down, someone might have taken drastic action. In that case, a second stroke conveniently removes him from the stage after the same episode last summer at the third plenum. This is very similar to Li Keqiang's given heart attack. I just released the video, by the way, in my Looking Glass channel about the suspicious death of former Premier Li Keqiang. Chris, can you share the link? The link is in the description. So it's similar. Of course, the biggest possibility, the most likely of all the scenarios, the most likely situation is that Xi Jinping did have a health crisis and is in fact in the hospital, just as the reports claim. Even if that's the case, the Premier Li Qiang might not rush home, in my opinion. Xi Jinping's people would do everything to conceal it, right? So if Li suddenly aborted his visit in North Korea, the world would know instantly that something major happened in Beijing. So the regime might deliberately keep him in Pyongyang to maintain appearances. So I do not think that Li Qiang would rush to Beijing just to help Xi Jinping cover up. Now, if Xi Jinping indeed had a stroke, if he has a stroke, I should say had a stroke, his future at the fourth plenum is already sealed. He's gone. He's no longer fit to lead the country or guide China's direction. Installing a new leader to stabilize the situation becomes the obvious, right? And it will start immediately. And it also looks natural. It looks like the natural next step. Everyone gets what they want, no bloodbath, no humiliation, just the inevitability of illness. However, Xi Jinping's health crisis and Beijing's determination to start transition right away will have significant impact on geopolitics, particularly the APEC Summit at the end of the month. Now, today, South Korean media, like JTBC and the Seoul News, quoted diplomatic sources saying that President Trump will attend the Asian Summit in Kuala Lumpur on October 26th to 27th, then visit Japan from 27th to 29th to meet Sanae Takahashi, the front runner to become Japan's next prime minister. She is going to be the next prime minister, there's no doubt. After that, after Japan, Trump is expected to travel to South Korea for a short 1 to 2 day visit. But here's the kicker. Trump may not attend the APEC Leaders Summit that opens on October 31st in Gyeongju, South Korea. And according to reports, South Korea's foreign ministry is still negotiating with Washington, hoping Trump will attend. As host, South Korea obviously wants Trump to show up. Some reports even suggest that Trump might hold bilateral talks in Seoul with President Lee Jae-myung, but still skip APEC entirely. Now, if Trump skips APEC, that's very unusual because you probably remember that Trump posted on Truth Social, his social media platform, on October 1st, where he said that in 4 weeks, he would meet with Xi Jinping. And the main topic would be China's halt in soybean imports. That was a big issue that Trump brought up. 4 weeks later, of course, I mean, when he said 4 weeks, that's at APEC. So what happened? What has happened? Why Trump all of a sudden is not going to APEC? Well, actually, there was a hint on October 3rd. I told you that. U.S. Ambassador to China, David Perdue, told the media that a face-to-face meeting between Trump and Xi was unlikely before next year. That comment immediately caught people's attention, right? Why such a big shift in tone and so quickly? Because Perdue's talk was the 3rd of October, and Trump's post was the 1st. So it was only 2 days later. And now with the South Korean media confirming Trump might skip APEC altogether, Perdue's words make sense. It now looks like Trump's team wants him to avoid meeting Xi. So here's the big question. Why would Trump, who had openly said that he wanted to confront Xi face-to-face over soybeans, suddenly changed his mind? And then if you think about it, if he flies all the way to South Korea, right, and then not attend APEC, not going in to attend APEC, that's kind of unusual. Oh, by the way, the South Koreans said that Xi Jinping is scheduled to attend the summit with his wife. But of course, that's before the stroke. That's before the news about his stroke. So my take, and you can agree or disagree, is this: given all the signs that Xi Jinping has already lost real power, Trump probably knows the situation and has likely decided that there's no point meeting someone who no longer holds decision-making authority. Why waste time talking to a figurehead? And if he goes, Xi will be there, and it will be hard to miss the meeting, right? So he simply decided to skip the summit entirely. No Xi-Trump meeting, no photo op, no empty talk. Now, if here's if Xi Jinping's health crisis is true, if he indeed suffered a stroke, then that may change things, because APEC is immediately after the 4th plenum. If Xi Jinping is very sick, I don't know if the CCP or the party elders will still send him to APEC. Sending a body double to meet Donald Trump is unlikely. So if the transition plan has already kicked in, as it's claimed, it's very possible that Wang Yang, the new leader, will go to APEC in Xi Jinping's place, right? And if that's the case, I think Trump may still want to show up at APEC because he does want to talk to the real leader who's in charge. So that's why whether or not Xi Jinping is indeed sick is crucial, because it holds so much weight right now, as there are many moving pieces around it. So, okay, so that's what I will say. But now, beyond all the rumors and reports inside China saying that Xi Jinping has lost control and is barely holding on, there's another important indicator that we should pay attention to. That's how the US is reacting. Now, it's very interesting that a few days ago, the US Office of the Director of National Intelligence issued a report, which was completed 6 months ago. Yeah, that was 6 months. So it was October, it's February. No, April. It was April. It assessed Xi Jinping's anti-corruption campaign and the extent of corruption inside CCP's top ranks. Only the summary has been made public so far. The detailed findings remain private or classified. But even that summary landed like a punch to Xi Jinping. The report denies the legitimacy of his so-called anti-corruption drive because it calls it nothing more than a cyclical political purge. That's basically like handing the anti-Xi camp a sharp knife, a tool to attack Xi's biggest political achievement, right? The report also tries to achieve a balance. Well, in my opinion, it tries to achieve a balance by mentioning the family wealth of former Premier Wen Jiabao, who is now the de facto leader of the party elders. Hu Jintao is the figurehead because he's old and not in good health, but Wen Jiabao is the de facto leader of the party elders. But that information, about Wen's family wealth is less damning as the information on Xi Jinping family's wealth, because it's already public information, and Wen Jiabao isn't seeking any position in the party. He's only playing an advisory role. So regardless if Xi Jinping had a stroke or not, he is on his way out. Even one of CCP's main English propaganda outlets, the South China Morning Post, published an article yesterday reporting that Xi Jinping's personnel structure, built after the 20th Party Congress, has collapsed across the board, with senior officials in the party, government, and military all falling. So the Post said that as a result, the current Central Committee will be forced to undergo a reshuffle. It will be the largest personnel adjustment since 2017. Now, although the article mentioned names that everyone already knows, such as Qin Gang and Li Shangfu from earlier purges, the repetition of these names isn't the point. The key takeaway is that the article signals, that article coming from South China Morning Post, signals a major reshuffle, a major power change is expected at the upcoming fourth plenum. So it's subtle. I mean, South China Morning Post, didn't say that Xi Jinping will step down. It didn't suggest that, but I think the fact that it says that major personnel change or reshuffle will be expected is hinting that there will be major changes at the fourth plenum. But I don't know if they knew about the health crisis. Maybe they did the piece because they knew that Xi Jinping is sick, and then there's no hiding anymore. Before the rumor of his stroke, I mean, there were still the Xi Jinping camp is still a formidable force. Like I said, they can use the vote to outvote the anti-Xi camp, but with his health in crisis, there's no hope. So maybe that's why the Post did the piece, just to hint that there will be major changes. All right, that's all. Sorry for the late. For the wait, but I had to cover this because this is major. This will change a lot of things going forward. All right, let's see. Oh, I see many. Well, thank you for always being there for me. I really appreciate it. I have some of the most loyal fans. They're here with me every live stream. I'm very touched. So, all right. Any questions? Thoughts? I mean, all I can say is this is major. I mean, I'm not someone who is very keen on reporting rumors. I always wait until the dust has settled, and but three individuals who I respect a lot, are saying the same thing, and I cannot ignore that. I think something is happening. All right, let's see. What do people have to say? Do you have any rumors you want to tell me? Maybe you know more than we do. Let's see what people say in the comments section. And Chris, if you could share the link for the Li Qiang video from the other channel, I'd appreciate it. Yeah, you should take a look on the mysterious death of Li Qiang. All right. Okay, let's see. Thank you. All right, let's see. Lei, do you think the stroke was an intentional intervention? Eddie Lee. Well, yeah, like I said, it's one of the 4 scenarios, the 4 possibilities. He was given a stroke, or it was a fake stroke, but he lost freedom. I mean, he's probably kept in a hospital. I mean, his health is okay, but he lost his freedom. So yeah, there's of the 5 I did 5 scenarios, right? 3 were fake stroke, but that doesn't mean that he's in a it doesn't mean that he's in a good situation. But the other 2 is he actually did have a health crisis. All right, let's see. Amani Kyla is the new Prime Minister of Japan tough on CCP? Oh yes, she is. She is. It's said that Xi Jinping's biggest concern in the past couple of days, or his people working for him, their biggest concern is actually the new Prime Minister. I know her Chinese name, Gao Shi Zaomiao, but her English name is the I don't want to mispronounce people's name, but yeah, Gao Shi Zaomiao. She is very tough. She is a disciple of the former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, so she's going to be tough. She will defend Taiwan, and will be tough on Beijing, on CCP. So it's good news for the rest of the world, but it's bad news for Beijing. All right, let's see. What do people say? Same question. Do Chinese people drink tea without sugar, syrup, or honey? That's right. We drink tea without milk or sugar. I drink black loose leaf tea with honey, so it's more common in the Western culture. Yeah, drinking tea with milk and sugar is very Western. I drink black tea in the morning with milk, but no sugar. Yeah. All right. All right, let's see. Comments? Rumors? Any rumors you want to share? All right. Oh, here we go. Drusilla. Hi, Lei, I'm confused. If true, she is gone. This is good, but will the replacement be pro-communist? If so, still, but I can't keep track of who wants what type of government in China. Help. Well, you're right. You brought up a very good point. The replacement, the anti-Xi camp, at least the drivers of the anti-Xi, the anti-Xi camp are more liberal, shall we say, are more open-minded, but they still function within the CCP's system. So whoever that person is, and I don't care if he's anti-Xi Jinping or pro-Xi Jinping or whatever faction he or she is in, it could be a she. The question is, will that person have the guts or the determination to dissolve the Communist Party, to end the communist regime and start China anew on a different political platform? So that's the question. It has nothing to do with the person, but it has to do with the person's determination and vision for China. So And then, so I think we should encourage them to end the CCP, regardless who that person is. And if they want to do it, this is the moment. The moment when Xi Jinping steps down and that person comes on board, they should do it immediately. Do not become Xi Jinping the second or the third, because you lose people's trust. With everything that's happening, the death of the actor Yu Monglong, everything, the amount of atrocities coming out of China, I don't understand how that party can continue to rule. Anyone with any common sense, any bit of common sense, should understand that this regime is evil beyond redemption. They need to end it if he wants to if he wants that job. So I don't really care who that person is. I care, will that person have the determination to end the communist regime once for all? Okay, Campbell Pomeroy. Hi, Lei, thanks for your work. Would you consider creating some Chinese language content or providing Mandarin subtitles for Chinese-speaking viewers? Well, that's a very good suggestion, but do you know that there's so much Chinese contents out there doing what I do, and they probably do it even better because they're doing in their own language. So if you have friends and family who do not speak English, I encourage you to Google the content like Xi Jinping having a stroke in Chinese, and you will find tons of contents. The Chinese dissidents living outside China, they pretty much all have their channel talking about the same thing. So yeah, there are so much more content in Chinese language, but there are not many Chinese doing the same content in English. So I'm the very, very few or the handful of people. I mean, there are English-speaking native speakers, Westerners doing this, but I don't think there are a lot of Chinese, like Chinese who were born and raised in China, like myself, doing China news in English. I do not think there are a lot of people out there. So that's why I devote myself to English programming. That's why I do not spend my time on translating into Chinese, because there's so much Chinese contents out there. Yeah, you should have your family and friends Google in Chinese, and they are there. Okay. I think it's good news. Don't you think so? I think it's good news. I think Xi Jinping having a stroke is not a bad news. It's not bad news for himself either. It's good for him. I mean, at least he could just use health as an excuse to step down. It saves everyone's trouble and face. So I think it's good news. That's why I keep smiling. All right, let's see. Joseph Larry Bradley. Lei speaks English so well. There's a Chinese woman. Inconvenient truth. Oh, inconvenient truth. Okay. Yeah, I think I know. I think I know that channel. Lei, will justice be served for Yu Monglong's death? Good question. There's a petition, a worldwide petition for his justice, but there's a fake account set up by the doers, also soliciting support, but that's a fake account. So someone has already done a program on YouTube showing people which one is the real one and which one is false. And as far as whether justice will be served, it has people have reminded us that we should not give up. We should not stop talking about Yu Monglong. We should keep it going, because it cost the CCP so much more money to take down every post about Yu. So now it's a competition, because machine cannot do it. They still rely on humans to to kind of scrub the internet, to remove every post about Yu Monglong. So the more we post, the more work we've created for them, and everything they do needs money. So people say that at night, like in the early morning hours, when the inmates or those people working, monitoring the internet, go off duty, could actually talk about Yu Monglong. They're not as censored as during the daytime. So so it's now a money game. So they say people should keep talking about Yu Monglong without giving up, even though your post may be removed. But if we keep the pressure on, they will break eventually, because they do not have the manpower, do not have the money to do this indefinitely. So I think justice will be served. It's just a matter of time. Yeah. And then this case has gone beyond the human. I mean, it has gone to the supernatural world. There's so many psychics around the world. There was one from Great Britain, psychics who have no connections with China are now talking about Yu Monglong because his spirit or his soul has talked to them. So it's propping up everywhere. So it has become a supernatural story. Yeah, it has gone from a political story to a supernatural, to a metaphysical realm. It's very interesting. Anyway, I shouldn't say interesting, it's a tragedy, but it has, I mean, this is a Chinese belief. When you can solve it in the human world, we have to go beyond the human realm to seek guidance and help. So now I think people believe that the divine has been involved in bringing justice to Yu Monglong. All right, let's see. Oh, here's a super sticker. And is Russia trying to keep Xi faction in power? That's what I heard. Yeah, Vladimir Putin very much wants Xi Jinping to stay in power, but his buddy doesn't have good health. What can you do? Drusilla Schultz, I think for China to survive, they must get rid of communism, or the world will shut the door on. I hope the next leader will be good for the people of China and be a good leader. I agree. I think when the CCP disintegrates, the worldwide socialist movement or the progressive movement will die down. It will be the biggest help worldwide. It will deal a serious blow to the progressive movement around the world, because ultimately the CCP is behind that movement. So, yeah. Okay. Oh, here's one. RS for Christ Jesus. Well, thank you for the super sticker. I appreciate that very much. Okay, I take one last question. Okay. J Kenny 24. Lei, did you know the coming new Japanese lady PM graduated in US university? No, I think she didn't know. She took an internship in the US Congress, but she didn't go to school in the US, did she? Maybe graduate school? I thought that she went to graduate school in Japan, but she did work. She took a internship at U.S. Congress. But she's a very smart lady. I mean, her story is so interesting. Yeah. All right. Okay. That should be it. What do you think? All right. I'll see you on Saturday. All right. Okay. Bye. Bye-bye.